You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Here we go again on our own, like that old White Snake song from back in the day. Never listened to White Snake, check them out. They're one of the most underrated hair bands of all time from the 1980s. But it seems like a lot more Alabama fans agree with me than I suspected as far as what's going on with this team and the fact that there's a segment of our fan base in the mainstream media that just want to throw all this onto Kalen DeBoer and his coaching staff. While they may be at fault some because they are, more fault and blame needs to be laid on a few players that we talked about previously on the last live stream, that being the Cancer Five. I'll give the roll call here in a little bit. They seem to be the main reason why things are not the way they need to be at Alabama. And today we're going to talk about that. Today we're going to talk about what the real problem is at Alabama and the real solutions, in my opinion. Let's talk about it. This is the home of the Common Joe and the Common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads. Now, here they come once again. It's the Outlaw Posse, now in effect. And today's Four Horsemen shout-outs go to Sooner J.H. Travels, Rick Birdwell, Tammy Burton, and Sigma are mounted up and saddled up and ready to go. And they're going to help us with today's college football invasion. And if you want to get your badge and get deputized and get your random Four Horsemen shout out like they just did, as well as possibly the comment of the day, it's just $2.99 a month. That's just 75 cents a week. That's just a half a bottle of water for the Outlaw. And you'll get your badge and you'll be deputized. Also, you can do the big four, which are all absolutely free. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel and get this party even more crunk than it already is. You can also reach me on X, aka Twitter, at OCF Productions. If you have any ideas for the show or even want to be on the show, hit me up on X. Now, getting right to it here. That live stream that I done a few days ago has really taken off. I've gotten a lot of great feedback from it, and it's more positive feedback to me than I thought I'd get. I thought I'd get a lot of negative Nancy's and Mary Poppins, crimson-colored glass-wearing segment of my fan base coming in there and railing on me. But for the most part, I'd say 80% have agreed with everything that I said in that live stream about the players being the problem more so than the coaching staff, more of the diva attitude that everybody's getting fed up with. We don't mind players getting paid, but we also don't think it should be something that interferes with what's going on at the University of Alabama. A lot of these players want to come in and get paid to play. The NIL was set up for you to go out and get your own sponsors, not for the University of Alabama to do it for you. Now, eventually, there may be a time when it's paid for play, and it might should be that way, because at that point, then they have to sign contracts, and they can't just up and leave in the middle of the year and then decide to come back or something to that effect, because it's just the Wild Wild West. You don't see Patrick Mahomes from Kansas City suddenly deciding that he wants to see the sunny beaches of Miami and have better weather and just leave Kansas City and go to Miami. And if he does, Kansas City's going to get something in return, as I mentioned ad nauseum numerous times on this topic. But I think the real problem with Alabama football and our fans going forward is the whole Nick Saban thing. All I hear from people all the time is, Nick Saban wouldn't have done that. Nick Saban wouldn't let this happen. Nick Saban, Nick Saban, Nick Saban. Please, if you don't want to go through, and I'm old enough to have seen both Bear Bryant and Nick Saban. Granted, Bear Bryant was the last 3 or 4 years of his legacy, but I've seen enough to know that what we went through after Bear Bryant can absolutely happen again under Kalen DeBoer going forward and whoever's after Kalen DeBoer. And I don't want that to happen to us. Our fan base and our legacy and our tradition at Alabama is way too precious to have to go through all that again. I don't want to have to go through after Bear Bryant. You had Ray Perkins. Ray Perkins was not a bad coach. He just would say some things and do some things that would rub people the wrong way. And the pressure got to him, and he ended up leaving for the NFL. Then we had Bill Curry. Bill Curry was run out of here because he couldn't beat Auburn or LSU. Now, a lot of people say that we done Bill Curry wrong, and in some aspects we did, but some of the stuff by Bill Curry was actually brought on himself. Then we had Gene Stallings, who did win a national championship, but it was just fleeting. It was just like a water in the Sahara Desert for Alabama fans. And then we went along 17 years after that, went through a horrid witch hunt with the NCAA that was completely corrupt in the fact that they did a quid pro quo with corrupt ass pumpkin head Phil Fulmer when they were actually the ones that were funneling money to T. Martin through a Mobile booster. So they set Alabama up and basically took a lot of scholarships from us, and we went through a rough time after that with Mike DeBoer, Dennis Franchione, who actually done decent. If he had stayed, he would have probably done all right. And then we had the Mike Price fiasco where he was caught rolling in a hotel with a bunch of strippers and was dismissed before he ever coached a game, putting us in a horrid position where we had to just go out and name a head coach that maybe had some Alabama ties. And, they ended up being Mike Shula. And Mike Shula was basically a long interim coach, in my opinion. And I love Mike Shula as a player, but as a coach, he lacked a lot to be desired, and he let players run over him. And that's a long list of coaches to go through after a legend. And that's what happened to Alabama previously before the legend of Nick Saban. So I want everybody to stop with the Nick Saban crap. Nick Saban, actually, in his last 3 years, was having a lot of discipline problems, a lot of penalty problems. People are saying this team is undisciplined. It's the most undisciplined team ever. And it probably is. But it's because now they think they can get away with it full brunt because Nick Saban is not here, right? But it was already happening. You saw last year and the year before that where we were one of the most penalized teams in America. Our defenses have been slipping ever since the hiring of Pete Goldie. And Kevin Steele, to his credit, came back for one season and actually done decent. But for people to continue to say that this undisciplined nature of the team is all Kalen DeBoer and his staff's fault is just not right. It's not reasonable, in my opinion. I'm not saying that they don't have some fault in this. Of course they do. They're part of the team too. But the main reason is, like I said in the last live stream, is you got a segment of the players, whether it be the Cancer 5 or the Cancer 7, I'm not sure how many, there might be more than that continue to try to hold this team hostage with demands. People say, well, if he's a great coach, he'll just bench him and tell him to get the hell out. That's easier said than done. It's easier for y'all to say that behind your desk and wherever you're working at, because if he lets go of those players, if he kicks them off the team or benches them or whatever, and they lay down, there's going to be a few others that are probably going to lay down that don't really let on that they're supportive of that clique, and it's going to make Kalen DeBoer lose games. So, yeah, if he is to come out and bench these guys and start losing games, then you have people calling for his head. And if he doesn't bench them and they start losing or they don't look as good, which they haven't, then they're going to want to call for his head. So the man's damned if he do and damned if he don't. All I'm asking from the Alabama fan base is to stand up and say, hey, we support Kalen DeBoer, at least until he doesn't deserve it, at least until he hasn't had the chance to put in his program the players and the staff around him that really buy in to his process. That's all I'm asking, is to give him a fair shake, just like you did Nick Saban when he come in and took over Mike Shula's mess. Give the man at least 3 years to show what he can do. And he's not going to be able to do that if people are pounding him for some stuff that he can't really control. Yeah, he can punish these players, like I said before, but he's just going to start losing a lot of games, and then y'all going to be mad at him. So let's stop waffling, and let's stop bringing up Nick Saban. Nick Saban wasn't perfect. He was a great coach. He done great things here at Alabama. I'm appreciative of what Nick Saban done here at Alabama. He won 6 national titles here at Alabama, tied for Bear Bryant for the most in Alabama history. He had 7 overall. Great coach. But Nick Saban didn't make Alabama. Now, people get mad when I say this. Nick Saban didn't make Alabama. Alabama made Nick Saban. Alabama's where legends are made. And that's not just a catchphrase. That's a fact, Jack. Frank Thomas. Even before that, Wallace Wade. Bear Bryant. The list goes on. Hell, even players of other teams have had their legend made by Alabama. One that comes to mind is Johnny Manziel. He would never have won the Heisman Trophy had he not bobbled the ball like an ass-juggling clown and threw a touchdown pass against Alabama. That was his Heisman moment. Hell, he even lost LSU after that pretty handedly and still won the Heisman Trophy just because he beat the legendary Alabama Crimson Tide. So going forward, I just ask all my Alabama fans to please give Kalen DeBoer a little more time before you start railing on him and calling for his head and not wanting to take into account that there might be some stuff going on behind the scenes that he has to weed out. As a matter of fact, let's show it right now. It's a grand showcase brought to you by the Cancer 5. Here it is. As you can see, this first product right here is ironic as hell, as you have a action figure Malachi Moore with removable parts, no less, which teams and players and fans of this guy can actually remove parts and sling them about the field, just like he did in Nashville. As you know, as he lost his noodle and wet his diaper and just started slinging stuff and kicking stuff everywhere. This action figure is just for you. Moving on. And this one right here is Roll Tide from Jalen Milroe. As you can see, a nice little hoodie with his great caricature of a smile that you can buy to support his Bama Forever logos. Next is Tyler Booker, number 52, with a big old head, with a big old scary Halloween-looking head. Man, this would be a great addition to your wardrobe, especially for Halloween, if you want to scare the complete hell out of somebody. Now, moving on to this one right here is for Tim Smith. I don't know too much about this one. I really can't say anything about this one. This one is so vanilla that it looks like maybe something that you would have bought off the rack at Dollar General. And that is the Cancer 5 showcase for the day. As a matter of fact, if you want me to do the roll call again, I will. But you know what? I don't think I will. I think I've given them enough fame for the day. Now, if you don't mind, there's a little heart down here with a money dollar sign in the middle. If you want to make a small donation to the program, smash that heart. Throw a few dollars in the coffers. Also, as I said earlier, you can join the Outlaw Posse. Get your badge, get deputized, get a random 4-horseman shout as well as possibly be the comment of the day. Not for $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Subscriptions and share are most important. They get this party bigger and get it crunk. We're almost to 5,000 subscribers. That's a big milestone. It'll help that YouTube algorithm and help them push this party to be an even bigger. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.